Hello everyone, this is Persephone and I'm making this video wearing a mask because first of all I want to put my own little stone towards promoting the use of masks, and second because I look so horrible today that I wouldn't normally post, but I can't just avoid posting forever, So here we are. I have a feeling that 2 years from now I'm going to be watching this video and saying, oh my god, it's so cringe, but I always believed that you help people when you are truly bleeding for your audience, aka admitting uncomfortable truths. So if you are a person that you found my video because you're going through a heartbreak or a breakup or you've been dumped and you're thinking of going down the path that I went, then this video is for you. And if you want the summary, please don't try to change yourself and be successful for someone else, even if you consider that someone else your soulmate or your twin flame or the one or whatever. So everything that I'm going to share here, you can find it in bits and bytes in past videos of the last 2 years on my channel, so you can actually verify it based on the dates. And I need to say that because if I watched this video and I didn't know myself, I would say, oh my god, so this chick copied some plot from some Hollywood rom-com garbage, and as if any of that would ever happen in real life. But sometimes life is stranger than fiction, so here we are. To give a quick summary to those who don't know me, for those who do know me, I'm sorry, please bear with it. A few years ago, I was married to someone and extremely miserable, and I became friends with my ex. By the way, online ex, we never met in real life, but we have reached the point where online relationships can be as important as real ones, because 25% of people get married because they met online. So I was very miserably married, and I met my ex and we became good friends that he was also supposedly very miserably married. This video is not dissing him, it's not about him at all, it's actually about me and the whole journey that led to today. And my ex, I'm not going to even mention him because I give zero promotion to failed people. Yes, I'm going to be a bit bitter, I'm sorry. My ex is a failed YouTuber, a failed writer, a failed human being in general, some would say. And during that time, I had him in such a pedestal, like, oh my god, I look back and I'm saying cringe at my own videos. So, unlike many people in my life at the time, he was the only person that he would actually listen to me or sympathize with what I was going through, and that felt like a very big deal, because I'm a person that I come from a very abusive background. My parents are very narcissistic, especially my mother, and that led to me having very low self-esteem growing up and a very distorted image of how human relationships should be, and friendships and romantic relationships and all of that. So meeting someone that would actually validate that your marriage sucks and your husband doesn't treat you right felt like a very big deal at the time, especially someone who claimed that he had been going through the same. And if you ask what was wrong with your husband, my husband is a person with a lot of mental illness himself, and he pretty much wanted to escape his own abusive parents. He has an Asian family, he's Asian, and he lied about a lot of things before we got married. And all of those lies came out after the marriage, and after that trust was gone, and his family also tried everything they could to break us up, including stalking me and getting me fired from my job. So I don't know how much you know about narcissism and personality disorders, but during that time I wasn't having any of it. I went through many stages. I was thinking of killing myself, then I became extremely racist, then I realized that it's not every Asian person's fault, it's just his family's fault. And eventually, although if you asked me before, what would you say about cheaters, I would say, oh my god, scum on earth. Somehow I found myself involved with a person that was actually cheating. Are you going to ask, were you also not cheating? Like, what's the deal with you? Why do you say that only about your ex? I would say that during that time I had agreed with my husband to have an open marriage because our marriage wasn't working out. But with the knowledge and the more maturity that I have now, I realized that An open marriage should come from a place of abundance, that both people love each other, they trust each other, and they just want to practice polyamory, and not from a place of we are too codependent, we don't have the balls to divorce, so let's just put a band-aid to the maggots that they grow and they eat away our rotten relationship. And another thing that I didn't know and I want to share with you is that not all cheaters are created equal, in the sense of my ex wanted to cheat because he wanted someone to cover his emotional needs that his wife isn't covering. I say isn't because I don't think she grew a brain in the meantime. And I wanted an exit affair. I wanted someone that he was going to help me get out of my marriage, aka monkey branching, if you are into red pill stuff. Good times. So, to make a long story short, a lot of things happen. My ex is also kind of a narcissistic person, and not only he decided to eventually dump me after my role was done, then he decided to do it very publicly. And the worst thing than a public humiliation and being dumped is being publicly humiliated in every internet forum that he made posts about me, because he's also a failed YouTuber, don't forget he's obsessed with celebrity crap. But also that stuff is there forever, so every time someone Googles me, all of those mountains of trash come up. And he decided to write a very public letter in a very popular subreddit where he said things about me. For example, you'll never be anything, you have no talent, you are a nobody and I'm famous and you only became known because of my connections, you are ugly. There are a lot of things that he said. And he also said at some point the word sewer rat. That's what he called me, because I'm from Eastern Europe and he's from, oh my god, he's born in New York, he's better than everyone. Now, any person with a normal brain would say, I'm sorry girl, why do you want anything to do with that person? Why didn't you just forget him the next day, right? Because after someone calls you a nothing, a rant, and a bunch of other stuff, the normal thing is to just erase them from your mind and just close that chapter and move on, right? The thing is, after all of those things happened, first of all, I was still very much stuck in my own bullshit that it was my fault and he was wrong about me, and I also had many mistakes, and also because I literally had nothing else going. I had been fired from my job that I really liked, my marriage was still the same crap it used to be, my family was still the same narcissists they've always been, and I didn't know what to do at this point. So I knew that I had lost the only person that was pretty much talking to me and the only person that was my friend and that I wanted to be with them. So I went to the toxic wasteland called Breakup Coaches on YouTube. And a lot of those people are going to tell you a bunch of stuff. For example, become successful, show your ex what they lost, become someone that they will entice them to be with them, and a bunch of stuff that they are really sophistry if you think about it. They make sense when you read them, but when you practice them and they actually get results, reality is much, much different. And here is what brings us to what happened. I was thinking that, first of all, I took that dumping letter. My ex has two characteristics. He's a racist. He hates his own race too. He's a fetishist. He's fetishizing white people while simultaneously hating them. And I suspect he's also gay bi, which is another, this is going to be like a special for when I hit 100,000 subs. The way they did all of that for an essentially closeted guy. So I took that letter and I studied it, and I decided that I'm going to turn around all of the things that were said about me. That he said that I have no talent for YouTube and a bunch of other things that in my opinion were very offensive and they weren't true. Okay. So for the next 2 years after that, I tried so hard to make it on YouTube. And I was thinking, I'm going to do research. I may have read thousands of articles and watched thousands of videos on how to do it, and I decided that I wasn't good enough and I had to somehow be good enough at all costs. So I was looking up things that other people were doing. For example, you have boobs, look at the tweets. Come girls, aka tweets, female gamer streamers, plaster your boobs. You are white, let's capitalize on white privilege. whatever there is that is causing controversy and you have going, you're going to talk about it. I also had the bright idea to be very public on YouTube about doing specific fetish related stuff online, which attracted the type of audience that I don't exactly profit from having. By not profiting, I don't mean only financially. If you don't know about fetishes and femdom and cosplay and stuff like that, to spare you the trouble of searching, I'm only going to say this. There is the layer of political correctness that everyone says that they do specific things for, and then there is the truth. That my original goal, because I was very naive, was to help people feel less bad about having specific fetishes and to explore them and to make some money out of it. In reality, you attract a bunch of stalkers, a bunch of toxic people who feel that they can get to abuse you and get away with it because they gave you hundreds of dollars, or people who think that they can talk you into dating them, or people who think that they're going to have a chance with you because they watched videos and they are in some kind of fantasy relationship. I even had people that they still mistake, they haven't changed my niceness or my professionalism as if me being specifically into them. Of course, not everyone is this way, but when 60% of the people who approach you are this way, after some point it becomes so toxic, so draining. It started triggering my past eating disorders, it started triggering body dysmorphia, it started triggering PTSD, but every sane person would say at this point to me, you need to stop, and I was thinking, no, I'm not going to stop. So when people started to gather, because when you have all of this shit show of a channel and drama, people will to gather, I was thinking, wow, we're getting somewhere. I mean, now I'm going to show you. And if you are not a YouTuber, you don't know this, pretty much when you hit 10,000 subscribers, you make as much as a quote-unquote 9-to-5 normal job. So I'm from Eastern Europe, I make easily 3 times as much as the average person who works a 9-to-5, and I have days where I make 5-6 times as much, where compared to the job that I was fired from. So I was sitting there thinking, wow, this is also great. It doesn't matter if you have to suffer wearing uncomfortable stuff. It doesn't matter if your eyes are hurting and you still put lenses on. It doesn't matter if your hair are fried because you have to dye them. And if you ask why do they have to be bleach blonde, it's because you need this base to put pink on it, to put blue on it. And I was getting hundreds of comments saying a bunch of stuff, for example, saying that I'm ugly, saying that I look trans. For the record, I'm not trans. If anything, I would identify as non-binary or agender, but not trans. But the thing is that I support freedom of choice, and that means I have to support the LGBT community. I'm a hypocrite if I don't support the right of people to live the way they want to live. They don't harm anyone. But I always looked androgynous, and people would just come to my channel and hate to no end. So after some point, all of this became so difficult. And the interesting thing would be that someone would say, the people who are watching because they want to get your ex back, you'd say, did your ex contact you? I have to say that my ex was always contacting me from fake accounts. The last time he contacted me from a fake account was on Discord yesterday. I'm not proud of saying that. I'm not proud of saying that I'm still in contact with this person, but it happened, and it actually triggered me to make this video. So he would contact me and he would praise me, pretending he's other people, and say that, wow, I'm really inspirational, and wow, this and that. And it didn't feel good at all, because it was always at the back of my head, and it was slowly eating me away that, I'm amazing now, I'm cool now. So when I was a nobody with no following, you called me a sewer rat, and you said that I'm a nothing, and I'm ugly, and I'm talentless, and now you are like acting like this type of fanboy around me, and that made me start to feel so much hatred and resentment towards him and towards everything. Then there was a particularly toxic, crazy week when literally every single day I was being contacted by people who were extremely toxic. So I said, you know something, I'm so done with femdom, I'm so done with all of this online me-stress and alpha type of person crap, that a lot of those fetishes, I was into them myself, and those people managed to dirty them. They managed to make them something that I couldn't anymore enjoy in private. And if you are not related to fetishes, to help you understand, imagine you like going to eat out in your favorite restaurant and you eat out something that you cannot easily make at home. For example, your favorite dish is frog legs or snakes or something that is strange. You cannot make it at home. And 2 out of 3 times that you visit the restaurant, you get extreme food poisoning and you spend all night in the bathroom. Won't you eventually start to detest the restaurant and see the food and feel that your stomach is turning and associated with bad things, with all of the pain and all of the discomfort of spending the night in the bathroom? The same thing happened to me. I started having problems with my body that I thought I had worked with, and overcame. I started to have problems with all kinds of things. I would start watching adult videos to see what other people are doing and saying, which made me start to develop addiction to those videos. And eventually I said, okay, this stops. And when you do that, your audience starts hating, starts being upset because they feel that you're not being honest. And hundreds of people accused me and said, you're just a persona and you're just faking it and you're just money obsessed. In reality, outgrowing something doesn't mean you're faking it, or wanting to start a new project doesn't mean that your old project, you never believed in it. It means that it was a circle, it was a thing that ran its course, and you have to move on to the next thing. Humans aren't stuck in a mold for 50 years. Another extremely toxic side effect of getting over 10,000 subscribers was that a lot of people started to approach me to be my friend or to date me, to essentially exploit me. And I was so isolated. I was the weird kid, the kid that had maybe 1 friend at the good days and 0 friends at the rest of the days, which were the majority. And I couldn't differentiate who was a friend and who was just an exploiter. So it was always at the back of my head, what does this person want? Maybe they want me to promote their blog for free. Maybe they just want sex. Maybe I had guys who approached me who also had YouTube channels and they wanted to date me and be featured on my channel to promote their channels. And it was all such a huge circus and a mess. And during all of that stuff, you don't have any days off. The people who say you do that and you make your own hours of jokes, you're essentially the slave of the YouTube algorithm. You don't upload constantly and you don't feed the algorithm and your channel disappears, boom, just like that. The monetization happens and it's pretty random. You have a shit ton of problems. I'm not a pessimistic person. I try not to be, and if my 2017 self, who had 100 subscribers, saw me complaining that now, he would say, oh my God, like, you're so ungrateful, get yourself together. In reality, many things in life are pick your struggle. Do you want to struggle having a 9-to-5 job, or do you want to struggle feeding the YouTube algorithm? The choice is a personal thing, but I was very naive, very isolated. I grew up the type of person that I would order food from an app so that I won't have to talk to anyone. So in my fantasy, it was something like, oh my God, I'm going to get those subscribers, I'm going to get that money, and then my ex is going to appreciate me like it happened in Legally Blonde, cringe. Or I'm going to get that, and goodbye wage hacking, I'm not going to be like anyone in the rat race. You're not in the rat race, you're in the YouTube rat race. So pick your struggle, pick what you want to do the most, what bothers you the least. So one thing that really started to eat me away was that my ex kept talking to me from fake accounts and trying to use me to cover his needs. I found a bunch of stuff that he had written about me on Reddit from those fake accounts, and he would write things like he regrets letting me go, that he saw how much we had in common. Of course, who wouldn't want a workhorse praising you and making you feel like you're a god on earth and being your fangirl? Who wouldn't want something like that compared to your wife that is wearing the same pajamas for a week straight and doesn't care about you? Because one thing about my ex is that his marriage was arranged and his wife married him for stability and security. So he got married so young that he never experienced actual attraction, mutual chemistry, having common interests and all of that stuff. And I would look at the things that he was writing and how much he regretted that those were not accounts that he would expected me to find. I'm a legit stalker when it comes to important stuff. But it made me sad instead of happy, because I was thinking, wow, so you still feel all of those things about me years later, and you still try to contact me and try to encourage me on what I do on YouTube, but you still won't get together with me, right? Why not? Am I still not good enough? How many subscribers do you want? You bet. And I had made a video 6 months ago saying breakup coaches are a scam and you should never see them. And looking back, I laughed because it wasn't the breakup coaches. The breakup coaches did their job. It was my ex that was the problem. So, to make a longer story shorter, what happened is that essentially, after having some talks with my ex, again from fake accounts, and after doing some soul searching, I came to realize that me and my ex were very different people in subtle things, but they make all the huge difference. For example, I come from a family that they have money. I'm not going to say they're millionaires, but they're definitely upper middle class. They're the type of people that they're going to sit in a restaurant and they don't really look at prices of items before they buy something. They like something, just pick it like from the shelf. And they can live without having to work. So many people would say that I'm spoiled, but it was the opposite of that, because I left my house at 17 and I couldn't stand anymore always having to be insulted with money, manipulated about money, and having money weaponized to control me. That if you don't obey, if you don't show respect, if you don't forgive abuse, we are going to take away this privilege, or we are going to take away that privilege, and so on. And to tell you a small example, for example, my mother would say, if you don't do, my mother was in college at the time, she went back to college, and she wanted me to write her dissertation for around $200, when the price, if you hired someone to do your dissertation, is over $1,000. She would say, if you don't do this, then I'm going to kick you out of the apartment you're staying that belongs to my family, or we're not going to buy you a car. And as a result, when I was in my teens, I swore to never have to take money from them, and to always make my own money, and to always stand on my own 2 feet, which led me through periods where I was living in very extreme conditions, periods where I didn't eat dinner because I didn't have money, periods where I had to take transportation for 4 hours every day because I didn't have a car, because I gave my car to my first ex when we divorced, so I didn't have money to get another car, and I was always extremely frugal. But my pride was the fact that I'm making, whatever I make is thanks to me, not thanks to someone else who controls me. And then for me, it's a form of soul prostitution. I'm sorry if it sounds harsh, but when I sell my dignity to someone who calls me fat, ugly, has hit me in the past, and has starved me to get money, that's a form of prostitution, spiritual form, and it kills you. My ex, on the other hand, his entire life is a hand-me-down from his uncle. My ex didn't deserve to get into an Ivy League school. His uncle got him due to connections. He has a useless art degree that is less than a toilet paper in our times. And he also wasn't good enough to find a wife, and his uncle found him this brain-dead girl to marry in an arranged marriage, and his uncle decided his entire life. And in order for my ex to be with me, he would have to go against that uncle when he's over 30. And obviously he cannot do that. So when I see someone like that, I feel that I want nothing to do with them, and that I was a fool. And I don't feel bad about my ex. I feel bad about myself and all of the things that I didn't know 2 years earlier. And I had to start a business, and I had to learn so many things in a fast course that was extremely painful. So I spoke to my ex the other day, and he asked me, have you ever been to Asia? And I said no. And I said, have you? And then he started talking about Japan, that I already knew it was my ex, and I already knew he had been to Japan. And that day I didn't have any more patience for him. And I said, you know something, how did you go to Japan with just your online job? Who paid for it? And there was a time where I was in yet another abusive relationship, and my ex of that time was Japanese, and I was having the choice to either go to Japan and be disrespected or not go at all, because my family is very extreme, and they have made it absolutely clear that if I want to travel to other countries that they don't approve of, when I come back, they were going to have to change the locks in my apartment or cut me off or some other extremity. But it's not about the locks or the money, because I don't take money from them, although I still live in the apartment that is theirs. It's about the fact that they're going to cause so much drama that if I go to Japan for, let's say, 2-3 weeks, I'm going to be dreading the time that I return because of all of the abuse and the drama they're going to start. So if I have to move out of the country, I have to move out of the country permanently. And then I realized, look at my ex, he's sitting there with all of his privilege. We come from different worlds. I would never date a New Yorker, a born New Yorker like my ex. I would date a person who is self-made and made it to New York, but I would never date someone who's looking down on me and saying, I was born in New York, I'm better than you. Because you're not better than me, you just happen to be born there, and that's just dumb and lame and petty. And signs of an insecure person who just, it's a failed narcissist and they need to grasp at straws to find something that they're better than the other person. And we were talking about all of that stuff, and I realized this person has no hope. He will never stop fetishizing me. He only started trying to make an effort to approach me or regrets because of all of this artificial stuff that I didn't really need. And the best thing was when he told me at the end of the conversation, I really wish you find what you're looking for. And I almost got a mental breakdown yesterday because I was thinking, what am I looking for? What do I want to find? And then I realized, holy shit, I don't know, because I've been chasing what you're looking for the last 2 years to impress you. And that was so pathetic. That is one of the times where you're thinking, I'm really getting tired of my own bullshit here. So if you are going through the same thing that I went through for years, please do yourself a favor. And if you really want to change, at least change for reasons that they are authentically you. Because I said always that I want to go to YouTube to impress people, not to impress people, to help people, to inspire them, all of that stuff. And I would have still done it maybe, but it would be one video every 2 weeks. Now I started YouTube in December 2017 and I have over 700 videos. So you see I was uploading sometimes twice a day, minimum every other day, which was very extreme, and a lot of the things that I did and said, they no longer express me. I've outgrown them and I get hate for them. And because I didn't have anyone to help me, for literally 2 years I didn't do anything that I really wanted to do because there was no time. I would have been like working, sleeping, working out, and trying to keep up with everything. And I realized when my husband pointed out that I start every day with complaining. There was a time where every day I would get up, I would open the laptop and I would find things to complain about, and that's not how you should live your life. So I understand that you are hurting if you're watching me right now. I understand that you feel that you are not good enough, and I felt that I'm not good enough for such a long time. I was beating myself down every single day, and I was so heartbroken. I cannot describe how heartbroken. My heart was like shattered in so many pieces that I would feel that I can never even find them inside me, as weird as it sounds. So I was so heartbroken. They kept thinking if I was more successful, he wouldn't have said those things. If I was like his wife who traveled to 13 countries with him, and if I was from New York too, or if I didn't do this and that. And it's all crap, because at the end of the day, I would have traveled the world if I wanted to just take my daddy's money or my aunt's money, because my aunt is also very wealthy and she doesn't have kids, and just be the little slave and tolerate snide remarks and tolerate ageist remarks or body shaming remarks or slut shaming remarks, or date some guy that they would want me to date. I could have traveled all over the world, and I just didn't want to do it this way. So it never crossed my mind that I should sit down and tell myself that you just took a different path than this person. That doesn't mean you're not good enough. You chose to make your own money, and when this happens, obviously you're not going to make as much money from the get-go. Right now I am at the place where I can easily travel, but the pandemic happened, so we're not traveling for now. But the thing is that the first 2 years I didn't have the money to travel, to say that okay, I'm just going somewhere and I can be there for, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 months, and I still didn't have the independence because of my family. So it's not about who is better, it's totally different life choices. So you look at your ex and say, do you really are so similar as you think you are? Maybe this person has a different life philosophy and things that you cannot see immediately when you look at them, but if you take some time alone and do some soul searching, you're going to start to see how different you are. And maybe you're not going to think that they're such a huge catch that you missed on. And right now, I honestly think that my ex and his wife are right to be with each other, and that youth should stop cheating because they are very similar people. They are dependent on their parents and their relatives, they're codependent with each other, and they are people that they base their life so much on what is the world going to say. And that's why I said maybe my ex is gay. Obviously, I cannot be 100% sure about the person's sexual orientation, but I know that if I am right and if he's truly gay, he is always going to be the closeted gay, the sad person who is having crushes on other men, and he can never go after them because his family is very conservative and very religious, and they would never accept someone gay. So all that brought me to a point where I was looking at myself and I'm thinking, what should you do with your life? And there were people who told me that we would be really sad if you stop posting. So I'm not going to stop posting, in a sense of, if the videos help even one person, of course I'm not going to stop posting them, because after all, those people were there for me, and those people paid my bills, and those people encouraged me, and those are not things that you just toss away. But I'm going to start other projects too, and try not to be more authentic. I was always authentic. That's why the hate got at me so much, because I realized when you have a persona and people hate the persona, it's like you have a shield. The hate doesn't get to you. But I started YouTube like the one-punch man of YouTube, having no idea how to do things. So I was thinking that being authentic is going to help, and being authentic can be so hurtful when you get 200, 300 comments calling you stupid, calling you ugly, saying, I'm going to find you and kill you every day. It feels horrible. So I'm going to start projects that people may going to be surprised at first, combined with everything else, but they're going to be more, what would I do if I had never met my ex and if I wasn't so obsessed with making YouTube? And at the end of the day, whoever wants to see my boobs that badly, we have OnlyFans. You can see them there. You don't have to see them on YouTube. I'm saying that because sometimes we don't even realize, especially if you come from a difficult, dysfunctional environment, we don't even realize our own worth, and we feel that we need the happy ending that you see in movies or in books to feel that we have some worth. That if this person, sure, I'm not going to lie, okay? If my ex one day showed up in front of me like 1 year ago and he said, you know, I did everything to be with you because you are my muse, because I started writing again because of you, because I feel that I can be an actual activist and not just some incel crazy person talking to himself, pseudo activist, that would be pretty epic. And for a very long time I was doing YouTube thinking, wow, he's going to decide that I'm the right person, and I'm going to have a platform for him to film that, to show that. And yeah, that would be epic. But at the end of the day, Max is not the person. That is the person I wanted him to be, and he can't be. So I have to write my own story without expecting from other people to be more than what they can be. And I say this with zero hatred. So I'm going to keep blocking him to the best that I can, because we have nothing left to say to each other anymore. And I think that not giving up and keep working and keep self-improving, even if you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, is the way to get you out. It is the way that got me out, because I had to grow up and realize some stuff that if I remained on my comfort zone, I would never have been able to learn. That truly being self-employed and truly having an online business is changing you in ways that a 9-to-5 job can never do. I just wish it wouldn't be so connected to my ex and so connected to all of this nonsense. And it's the first time in my life that I don't feel that I need to date someone to prove something, or that I don't feel to wear a specific outfit to provoke something, provoke a reaction, or that I don't feel to the need to keep increasing the subscribers like crazy and obsess over numbers and obsess over views. Because there was a time that my ex would say, I would kill to have videos with 20,000 views, and I have videos who have over 100,000 views, and I realized, why would you kill over that? If this is so important to you, then I'm sorry, you like substance. Views are important, sure, but views aren't everything. There are so many other things more important in life. For example, having a consistent audience. not having a fickle audience that I attracted because they worship white people or because they think that they're going to send me $300 and then I'm going to date them. This is so wrong in so many levels, and I also don't want to enable that. I don't want people who think that dating someone is going to be the antidote to all of your life problems, or starting a business and becoming successful will heal your broken heart. If anything, the first month, that was around 3 or 4 months ago, that I started seeing my ex for who he truly was, I was truly devastated, because not only I felt that I wasted my time, I felt that, did I ever really know this person? And he even had one post where he said that his relationship with his wife actually improved when he was talking to me and he was dating me online, because he was having his emotional needs met, and then he could be more patient with her. Talk about feeling used, feeling like a fool, feeling exploited, and feeling like a sucker. That I was feeling all of those things same time. That, oh my God. So I went through all of this hell to impress this person that needed a chatting body because his wife cannot grow a brain. Lame. Like I said, this is probably a very hard video to make and very cringe, but I don't think that being dishonest helps anyone long term, especially not me and not the people going through that. If I had found even a single video who said those things, it would have gotten me to at least think that maybe I'm also in this category. So the thing that I realized is that some people will always choose the lie. My ex, on his last post, he was talking about seeing a counselor with his wife and making effort. So I'm going to say it here for everyone who needs it. You cannot fake real attraction. You cannot fake real chemistry. Relationships are short, they have work, but if you have this slavery type of work that every day you have to suffer and exhaust yourself just to make things work, then you are not in the right relationship. So he's still deluding himself that he can cultivate chemistry with his wife. That's not my problem. I don't delude myself that I can cultivate chemistry with my husband. We're very different people, and I don't know where the future is going to take us, but I'm definitely not going to see a counselor to change my personality to date someone that we have nothing in common. And another thing that my ex thinks, and I don't think, and it's important to be like me because I'm right in this case, is that my ex is very guilt-based and obligation-based, and he's always thinking, what are people going to do? Oh my God, if I divorce, it's going to hurt my wife. Oh my God, if I divorce, it's going to hurt my relatives and upset them, and I'm going to be the bad guy. So I'm going to ask for a second, did you ever think that not divorcing hurt me more than you can imagine? Of course not, because I was the sewer rat and the disposable. The things that I've done in my life, a lot of them had exactly zero support. When I started YouTube, my parents were 100% against it. 100% of my friends were against it. They told me I'm not cute enough. They told me I'm creepy, I'm autistic because I have Asperger's syndrome. They told me I don't have anything interesting to talk about. And they said that, who is going to watch someone like you in a platform like YouTube where literally 5% of the creators get monetized nowadays? I still started. And when I divorced for the first time, everyone was against it. I lost my friends because they were common friends. My parents gave me the cold shoulder. My ex hated me, and years later, the same ex who now dates a woman who is a much better match for him told me that, thank you, we were both unhappy and you had the courage to do what it takes. Well, one more difference that we have with my ex: if you want to be successful in life, if you want to be happy, if you want to be fulfilled, sometimes there is collateral damage. Sometimes some people are going to be hurt, some people are going to be upset, but in my opinion, it's going to be worth it. You're not doing anyone a favor being fake. You think you do, but in reality, you don't. For me, that's just me, but if I caught my husband writing on Reddit that he would do anything to hear another woman's voice and that it has been years since they've broken up and he still thinks about her every day, I would say, just be with other woman. I don't want to be on the way of something like that. And I would feel that it's pointless to have a husband whose heart belongs to another woman. But what do I know? I'm the white colonial oppressor. My ex thinks I am, right? Because he's also a huge racist. So that's all. I don't want to make this video an hour long. It's supposed to be a story time video. But I'm telling you, at the end of the day, you're going to regret the things you didn't do.